Now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the factors that will impact your ability to conceive. Nutrition is now considered a primary factor in fertility, and there's actually a lot about both a male and a female's nutrition status that will impact how quickly they can conceive. One of the biggest factors that impacts fertility is a recent significant weight loss. Any recent weight loss that is significant or rapid, for example, that might be greater than 15% of your initial body weight. So for someone who is 200 pounds, if they had lost more than 40 pounds recently in a short period of time, it can have a big impact on your ability to conceive. The main reason for this is because of the impact on hormones. So in rapid weight loss, we do get a decrease in hormone production, and of course those hormones have a big impact on your ability to conceive. The best prevention of this is to make sure that if you are trying to lose weight before you conceive, make sure that you're doing so while paying attention to your nutrient status, and you're doing so in a slow and sustained fashion. Another impact is inadequate antioxidant intake. So for example, people who are eating not a lot of fruits and vegetables and they're not getting a lot of nutrients such as vitamin E or beta carotene or selenium, it actually causes an abundance of free radical production in their body, which can decrease sperm motility, and again will have a pretty significant impact on your ability to conceive. Body weight also has an impact, so weights that are significantly higher than what is considered healthy or significantly lower than what is considered healthy. In both of those scenarios, there is an impact on hormone production. For example, in very high weights, there may be an increase in testosterone production for females, and this can decrease your ovulation and decrease your ability to conceive. Ideally, prior to when you would like to conceive, you are doing your best to make sure that your diet is helping you maintain a weight that is appropriate for you. Alcohol intake has an impact on your ability to conceive. So in females, any more than 1 drink per day, and in males, any more than 2 drinks per day does appear to increase the time that it takes you to conceive. Also combined with that is the fact that many women don't know that they're pregnant until a few weeks into pregnancy, and we do know that any amount of alcohol intake, especially earlier on in the pregnancy, can have some pretty devastating impacts on the fetus. So if you are trying to conceive, it is always a good idea to keep an eye on your alcohol intake and get it as close to 0 as possible. There are certain health conditions that also decrease your body's ability to conceive. Those are things such as celiac disease, where there could be some malabsorption happening. In females, things such as PCOS and endometriosis are also conditions that can make it harder to conceive. So it's always a good idea before you are ready to conceive to visit with a doctor, make sure you're getting some testing to look for any underlying health conditions, as well as just getting a baseline to assess your nutrient status. So looking for things such as iron, your B12, your vitamin D status, how your thyroid's functioning, what your insulin levels are like. All of those are really important factors to make sure that you can conceive quickly and have a healthy pregnancy. When it comes to caffeine, there are very limited studies, and there isn't a very clear answer on whether caffeine impacts conception or not. So if you are trying to increase your odds of making sure that you conceive quickly, it might be a good idea to limit your caffeine intake. There are a couple nutritional factors specific to females that can impact your ability to conceive. The first one is iron. So iron is actually one of the most common nutrient deficiencies that impacts conception. We know that approximately 1/3 of women of childbearing age in North America are iron deficient. So it's always a good idea to get your iron tested and make sure that you're getting up to a really good level, which will improve not only your ability to conceive, but will also help babe, because as soon as you become pregnant, your iron needs become increasingly high. There is some evidence that women who follow vegan diets may also have a harder time conceiving, and this is really just due to the fact that it's not impossible, but harder to get some of your nutrients on a plant-based diet. Particularly, some of the nutrients that might be of concern are iron, B12, protein, and zinc. all of these nutrients have an impact on your ability to conceive. And so if you are vegan and hoping to conceive, it might be a good idea to visit a dietitian and make sure that you're getting all of the nutrients that you need off of your whole food, plant-based diet. Also, there are a couple of nutrients specific to males that do have an impact on sperm quality. The first one is zinc. We do know that men who have lower levels of zinc have lower levels of testosterone and lower levels of high quality sperm. We find zinc in pretty much any protein food, and so it just is important for males to make sure that they're getting enough protein, whether it is off of animal-based or plant-based foods. There also is some indication that men who have high levels of soy tend to have altered hormone levels. So if you are a male, that might be something that you want to limit while you are trying to conceive with your partner. There have been several studies trying to define what we would call a fertility diet. So what would be the ideal diet for somebody who's trying to improve their fertility? What we know is that there are some characteristics that we've talked about that are important. First of all is making sure that we're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. So a good action goal is to make sure that you're eating some sort of fruit or vegetable pretty much every time you eat, so with every meal and snack. This can make sure that you're getting enough of those antioxidants that can make sure that there's no inflammation that will decrease your ability to conceive. The next thing that we know is that people who have the highest levels of fertility tend to eat fish a couple of times a week. So these are lean, low mercury, low pollutant fish, such as wild salmon, and we eat them 2 to 3 times per week to make sure that we're getting enough of our essential fatty acids for conception. There is also some evidence that for women who eat full-fat dairy a few times per week, there does seem to be some ability to some effect on improved fertility for women. So if dairy is something that you enjoy eating, do make sure that you're eating the full-fat components for the most flavor and the most benefit to your fertility status. So if you are getting ready to try to have a baby, a few things to note. We want to make sure that we're eating enough fruits and vegetables daily. We want to make sure that we're eating enough fish, so fish a couple of times a week. We want to make sure that we visit our doctor to get some lab work to just make sure that there's no underlying conditions that are going to work against us. So things like PCOS, endometriosis, celiac disease. We would like to get some baseline blood work, so it's always a good idea to get your iron checked, your B12 checked, your thyroid, just to make sure that everything's in working order. It is important that as soon as you're ready to try to have a baby, that you start having a high-quality prenatal vitamin. Some of the things that you want to make sure are part of that vitamin are iron, so at least 28 milligrams of iron is recommended, as well as folate. And we are looking for about a 400 to 800 microgram methylfolate as the best bioavailable source for babe. This will help make sure that some of that development that happens very early on after conception, often before you even know you're pregnant, to make sure that that development happens well with all the nutrients that it needs. There is some very early and emerging evidence suggesting that certain types of probiotics or bacteria may help improve fertility in both males and females. It does appear that the strain Lactobacillus, which is a specific type of bacteria, does have some benefit to improving your ability to conceive. Again, the research is really early, but there is no harm in trying a probiotic in this particular strain when you are looking to get ready to get pregnant. As you can see, that there are a variety of factors that impact both a male and a female's ability to conceive. So this isn't a job that just lands on new or expecting moms. This is really a job that everybody in the family needs to be taking care of to make sure that they're getting the nutrients that they need to improve your ability to conceive.